I'm Tom Leech. I'm an author, presentation coach, professional speaker, and here to chat with you a little bit about some of the things that I get involved with and communicate. I mentioned I'm an author, and my book is, as shown here, How to Prepare, Stage, and Deliver Winning Presentations. And that's the gist of what the whole thing is all about. And this is the third edition of this book, published by the American Management Association. 3 editions. Each one has gotten very good acclaim, and glad to have that happen. And I think that above all, the reason is it's addressing a critical element in the business world that has various parts to it, but it's an important attribute. For instance, what goes on with customers. A lot of that is communication and conference rooms, and you have to get the business to start with, and then over the next 1, 2, 5 years, whatever, you're communicating, telling the customer how well you're doing. That's assuming you got the contract in the first place with a winning presentation. The other characteristic of that is that a lot of times the presentations are not customers, they're your colleagues. And a lot of time is spent in conference rooms. You might be presenting to your own management or your crew that you're working with about policy changes or being bought by another company. There's all kinds of things that go on during face-to-face presentation. Now, what makes this valuable is that a lot of times the quality of the presentations is not that good necessarily. You know, the standard complaints that you'll hear from people is that they walk away from a meeting, and next hour or next day they say, boy, that was a waste of time. And a lot of times it is a waste of time because the presentation needs some serious work. They didn't get my book, apparently, right? And then you'll see certain characteristics. Well, we see a lot of presentations just in the daily activities. If we're pursuing our business, we go to a conference ourselves, we go to a monthly meeting of an organization that we belong to. You know, many times there's a speaker, professional, and usually using screen slides and all that kind of stuff. So what the problem is sometimes is that the speaker, we can't follow, where's this presentation going? The organization is just loose, bunch of stuff. The other real common complaint is the quality of what's on the screen. Mostly nowadays that's a PowerPoint presentation or equivalent of that, and it's so overloaded many times. Third area is sometimes the speaker is doing a good job of speaking to the screen, but not interacting well, and a lot of times it comes across as though you hear that a lot too, a wooden form of speaking rather than interpersonal and how the person really speaks. So it comes to mind a conference that actually a luncheon meeting that I attended, and that all those characteristics were exhibited by this speaker that we're all 100 of us listening to this for the next 45 minutes or so, when a fellow next to me who was very experienced at doing this kind of thing, and he said, you know, I hope there's no quiz at the end of this presentation, because all those characteristics were not helping communication success. So that's what we don't want to have happen. Another characteristic is that a lot of people resist, they're not very good at presenting. And that's one of the famous fears that we often hear about. Is number one fear is that having to give a speech, public speaking. Well, what happens a lot in careers for people is that hurts their careers. They limit themselves, and so that's what we do not want to have happen. So at any rate, that's what we're here to talk about, and just pass on a little bit of advice from this chap named William Shakespeare, and a couple of his wisdoms. King Lear, mend your speech a little, lest it may mar your fortunes. The importance of speaking and presentation. And then a fellow named Ulysses says, no man is lord of anything till he communicate his parts to others. So let's work on it, and I'd love to help you out. doing exactly that.